It's about your legacy. What are people going to remember you for? And that's what people can do with social media. So I wanted to give this presentation on how you can use social media to change your life. You know, I realized a lot of people in life, I see they're not fulfilled because they're not creating. Now more than ever, people need to be educated before they come to you. People touch this 152 times a day because there's no excuses. If you don't do it, you're just gonna miss out on market share. You will be crowded out in the marketplace by people who actually go out there and build their brand. And the great thing about social media is you don't need many followers. It's like manifestation. Whatever you're searching for, the content finds. So for someone who, guys, say hi, auntie. So I wanted to start this off with, how many people here are parents? All parents. So when you guys are no longer here, when you die, what do you want your children to remember you by? And shout them out. What do you want your kids to remember you by? Powerful. Okay. So we're going to come back to that at the end. So as Luba introduced me, my name's Sugira Rubasha. I was born in Kenya and I came to Australia when I was 3 years old with a first generation African family. Got 2 brothers, mum and dad. And is anyone here a middle child? Middle child. So you guys get me. Us middle children, we're crazy. Right? Like I always felt that I was destined to do something great in life, to express myself in the highest way. So I've been a footballer. In Australia, we say soccer. I've been a footballer most of my life, traveled around the world, pursuing that dream. Football is everything I've loved. It runs in my family. And as I was doing that journey, I started to document my life. I started to turn the camera on and just show people a little bit about myself. And it was so crazy when I started doing that, I started to say, like, imagine if my children can watch this. Instead of me telling them like, oh, I used to do this, like they can literally go and watch it. So I used to think about that a lot. So fast forward, I came to Australia and then dad came to me one day and he said, son, why don't we start a podcast? And for me, I was like, well, that's a great idea. But you see, dad, his thinking was, he got to a point during COVID where he felt unfulfilled in life. So my dad's 50 and he was drinking his beers, going to the pub and paying rent and just living life. And he got to a point like, there's more from me, right? He started to listen to motivational speakers. He started to look after his health. He walks around Brighton nearly every day now. And so because he was learning all of that, he said, I want to teach this. Like when you learn things in life, you want to teach it to people, right? Like that's where true fulfillment comes from. So he looked at me and he knew I was good at this social media. He didn't have to pay for it too. So he said, let's get a podcast because you can help me bring this out to more people and teach this. So I started to get mum and dad. My mum started to tell me things as a mother that I never knew. She told me about going through depression when she came to Australia. Dad told me stories that I never knew. I started to learn about my grandfather. I have my auntie here from London, all the way at the back. Guys, say hi, auntie. And the other day, when she came, she started to tell me about my grandfather, and he was an entrepreneur. And so she started to tell me about how he ran the business and what he used to do. Like, for how many of you guys, if there's a price for your grandparents, if you could watch some of their life, if you could watch content, how much would that be worth for you guys? Priceless, right? Yeah, priceless. So, you know, I'd have my dad on the podcast and he'd tell me about my grandfather and about our family history. And I was like, wow, this is so powerful because our children, they can go in and watch us. When my dad's no longer here, my kids and their kids can see their grandfather and their ancestors. And that was incredibly powerful. So I fast forwarded off. I lost my job during this period. So I was like, what am I going to do now? And this was just a passion. Like I fell in love with this and I had a talent for this. So one day I was at my gym and there was a guy, he's always walking with a nice suit, always looking good, you know? So he said, man, that guy's always dressed so nice. So I was in the change room one day and I said, hey, what do you do? And then he said, oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm a CEO of Professional Visa and Educational Services. Quite a big law firm, offices around Sydney. So I had no clients at this time. I said to him, oh, can I come and do an interview with you? He was like, yeah, sure, you can come. You know, lawyers, they're very proud, you know, so be it. So I went into his office and I just asked him a question, turned the camera on, and I said, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs? And he answered the question. Within an hour after I left his office, I edited a quick video, posted it and sent it to him. He texted me back and he said, can you be at my office on Friday? So I went to his office on Friday and he came in and he said, as an entrepreneur, I know what I want. You came into my office and within an hour, you edited a video, you cut out my mistakes and you made me into an expert. I need that for my law firm. I need you to position me as an authority figure. I'm going to pay you a retainer and you're going to be with me. And so that changed my life. That's how I got started. But the reason he did that, you guys know how much it is to go to a lawyer. It's expensive, right? It's expensive to go to lawyers. But he knows for him to grow his law firm, people need to spend time with him. They need to be educated about what it takes to move to Australia, right? So what did he think? He knew that I need to position myself out there. So that's what we did. I would come and sit with him in his office, would schedule 30 minutes, and we wouldn't talk about law. I'd talk about his journey. How did you become a lawyer? Tell me about your children. Tell me about your wife. What did you struggle with when you first came to Australia? Why did you feel a need to help people move to Australia? And he started to pour in. He started to talk about that. So you see, this is much bigger about business. It's about your legacy. What are people going to remember you for? And that's what people can do with social media. So I wanted to give this presentation on how you can use social media to change your life, to have a legacy. For you, I realized a lot of people in life, I see they're not fulfilled because they're not creating. You were born on this earth to create, to give, to share knowledge and information to people. And when you give in life, when you turn that camera on and give to people, wealth is a byproduct of that. Your business will grow as a byproduct. So your audience, in whatever you guys do, you're a mortgage broker, finance, all the industries that you guys in, property, people want to be educated. Now more than ever, people need to be educated before they come to you. People touch this 152 times a day. So you can now own your narrative and you can educate your audience. Educate your audience. Be there for them because they need you. In business, your best clients are the people who already pay you. They want to spread word of mouth for you. So imagine if they can have something to say, hey, look, this is our client. This is what they do for us. And so that's what we really help people do. But yes, at the end of the day, only 1% of you guys, only maybe one person here will actually take action on this. So for that one person who says, you know what, it's time for me to give, to serve, I hope that this can be an inspiration of you to take action because there's no excuses. If you don't do it, you're just going to miss out on market share. The more time goes on, you will be crowded out in the marketplace by people who actually go out there and put themselves out there and build their brand. It's the day and age we're living in. I saw this at a time and I was screaming this at the rooftops here in Australia, telling people, guys, this is powerful with our podcast, right? And we've been able to now have clients that we're serving, build a media company. And so I just want to be able to give this to you for inspiration. It's time to get it. And I want you guys to ask questions. Does anyone have any questions on how you can grow on social media?
How would you get started if you were just like, today I want to just build my personal brand?
What are the products?
Well, the product now is a opportunity AI space.
An opportunity as AI space. So who would you say is your target customer? Who's that person who's looking for those opportunities?
A business peak, established business peak on a CP income.
Okay. So the quickest way to start, I would say, for her, for example, her target audience is on LinkedIn. So you don't need to be absolutely everywhere. The best place to start is, where does my end customer spend most of their time, right? So for example, the lawyer, his customers were on TikTok because people are going on Google and saying, how can I move to Australia? And they're going on TikTok. So for example, for you, that would be just even turning the camera on and giving one piece of information that you learned during the week. Hey guys, in the AI space, there's been this and this happening. And I think the best way for you to navigate this space is to do this and this. And you post that on LinkedIn. And the great thing about social media is you don't need many followers, because what happens is it's like manifestation. Have you guys been on your phone and you're thinking about something? Maybe it's a new fridge or a toy. And when you go on your phone later, it kind of pops up. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Yeah. It pops up because it's like the content, whatever you're searching for, the content finds. So for someone who's looking for the AI opportunities, they're going to find you if you consistently keep putting yourself out. Go live. Yeah, that's an option too. TikTok live. Yes, definitely. Go live and get other people in your industry. Talk to other people, go live, talk to them. And that's a great way to build your brand. Because what happens is people trust you. People want to trust, especially now more than ever. How are you going to get that trust? They say it takes 7 hours for someone to trust you. So now, like me, I'm doing this speech here right now, but I'm not just doing it in front of you guys. This is going on YouTube. So now all the other people can come and see this story, and I'm now pitching at scale, not just to the people in this room.
What medium do you think has the most traction?
What medium?
Yeah.
Yes, video, definitely. And also written and audio. So you could have a Spotify that's just, sorry, not a Spotify, a podcast that's just audio, right? I always say video, video, video because you can use both, but audio and also written as well. You know, you have a blog post, you have a mailing list, but definitely video because everyone's watching videos.
I think with the content, it is that being vulnerable and talking more about yourself, post your business and product and all of that. Like, I think that's an important part of getting online.
I think, to be honest, that's what separates you from the rest. So I'll give you an example. On LinkedIn, I'll post things with my family, and that gets way more impressions than my business side because everyone's doing business marketing. Yes, the business side is powerful when you have testimonials, when you're talking about your business. Fantastic, do that. But sometimes that vulnerability that someone says, I can relate to you. I can relate to your story. You know what? I like that person because business is all about relationships. So I think the vulnerability, and it's just whatever you want to share. You don't have to talk about your private life. You can stick it to business, but you can still tell stories that make you relatable, you know, and things you've seen from clients' testimonials. So yes, that vulnerability, they say victory goes to the vulnerable. So I like that attitude on social media. Victory goes to the people out there who are vulnerable.
Thank you very much.
Just to add on that, like, you know, especially when you venture into things like podcasting, right? A podcast is so natural. For example, Max came on the podcast. He talked about his book. You guys got to think about it. Remember, content is an asset. It's a digital asset. It's like property, right? When you put out content on YouTube, it may not monetize now. Like for me, it's not monetized for us. It's our business side. It's our documentation. But over 10, 15 years, that's something that brings in passive income. That's going to go on to our children. So also, it's an asset. It's a digital asset. It's your IP that you're just adding on to your business. It could be a separate revenue stream, right? You can get speaking engagements just because you put out content. Sorry, I can just get passionate sometimes. At ETS Rebasha Media, we help you become an industry leader. How? Well, we manage your podcast. A podcast is one of the most powerful ways for you to get your voice out there authentically, so you can teach and be an expert in your industry. And so once you have a podcast, once you're able to document like we're doing here and be able to put that into the marketplace, it positions you as a leader. Now, what we do with that is now we position our CEOs to be speakers, right? So you could just be doing what you love, working on your business and speaking on workshops, having speaking engagements, hosting workshops. So we have an availability once you become a client here at ETS Rebasha Media, whether we're managing your podcast and your personal brand, to be on the list of one of our speakers. So now you can get booked for speaking engagements. If you want to apply for that, if you want to apply for the select few clients who we can be represented out in the world, so we can market you speaking to so many people, being that industry leader, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. It's the only way you're going to be an authority. People want to see you in front of other people. In their mind, they see you as someone who is important, someone who is valuable. When you become highly valuable, you become highly remembered, and you become highly paid. So you can become here represented us, so we can be marketing you out there in the world, just like we do for our clients. You do have that opportunity. So if you want to get in touch for that opportunity to have your podcast managed and be put up for a speaker, connect with us below. Thanks.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.